Not sure what happened, but my Zoom just kind of quit, or maybe it was not enough of a Wi-Fi connection. Something happened. So, anyways, I'm back. So we were asking the question about the week 1 assessment, and I'll add to that so we're all on the same page about the requirements. So okay, so now I think we're good there. By the way, David, do you have your FLA file up yet? Okay, 1 moment, please. So everybody understands what's required for the assessment, and I just want to take a little peek before I help out David with his scenario. I want everybody to understand a little bit about the code. Now, don't worry. We're letting Flash do the code for us. So, but at the same time, we as instructors are very interested in you understanding a little bit and tying the connection between this class and the other classes that you've taken up to this point, APP 242, DES 241, where you built websites. So don't get freaked out here. I just want to tie the connection. So I'm going to go into this file where we output the HTML5, and I want to bring up this HTML file. Now, the HTML file is read by the browser, and here, this is the stage. The white area is what was the stage. Over here, any objects aren't shown here. Now, here's a question I'm going to ask you. Are we needing the Flash runtime? Everybody answer. If you don't know, just put a question mark. If you're guessing, put your answer followed by a question mark. Excellent. That's correct. The question is, does this animation require the Flash runtime, or the Flash plugin, or the runtime? Does this require it? Yeah, good. Now, David has, and I don't, David, if you could post your link once again, it's not on this chat. Go ahead and post your link again, David, to your the one that's out there. Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to click on that. There we go. Okay, there's an animation. Okay, don't freak out, everybody. David actually worked on this in another class when we didn't have HTML5 and JavaScript in it. So, and he's reworking it. He actually had Caroline as his teacher. Now, the question I have for you here, and David, you can answer, everybody answer, does this animation require the Flash runtime? You might say, I don't know. And here's how you find out. Do a right click right on the animation. And do you see anything here on the drop-down menu that kind of gives you a clue? Right there. So what's going on is in this area, the browser has delegated to the Flash runtime program this area right here of the rendered web page, and it says it's HTML or the browser has handed over to the Flash runtime this area of the web page to process. So right click, and there it is right there. And that says this area, quote unquote, belongs to the Adobe Flash Player. Now watch this over here, right click. Do you see about Adobe Flash Player over here? I'm right clicking up here, do you see it? No, it's not there. And that means that this area does not belong to the Adobe Flash Player. It belongs to the browser. Kim, what would you guess? What would you guess? I'm gonna let you, Kim, I'm not gonna just answer your question because I want you to give me your best guess. That'll help me help you. What would you guess? Kim asked the question, when we do the assessment, will it play in a browser? What would be your guess? Yes, no, question mark? I know you're asking me the question, but I'm actually wanting you to do your very best at guessing. Okay, Kim, I'm going to give you a hint. The output of your assessment is an HTML file and a JavaScript file. What opens an HTML file? Does a Flash runtime open an HTML file? Good. That's right. It will play in a browser. That's right. So, David Jensen, back to you for a second. This area around here belongs to the browser and is just HTML. This area in here belongs to the Flash Player. So if we look and inspect this element, do a right click and do inspect element, you'll actually see under the hood really quickly here and see that the HTML refers to a Swift object, meaning an SWF object, or that's a Flash SWF file. And that's where his animation is, in a Swift file. Over here, this is just the styling. Here we've got the HTML, the body tag. So if you open up the HTML, see, we're looking under the hood here at the rendered browser page, and we're going to see right here a reference to the Swift file. And that's the thing. So the reason I'm showing you this is because I want you to know that this is not what your output is going to look like for your assessment. It will have HTML, but it will not have this right here, the Flash object. It's because we don't require the Flash runtime. When we are in our Adobe Flash and we create the HTML5 canvas and we do a publish, it totally bypasses that Swift object. And it just creates our animation in the HTML and the CSS. This is the styling here. And here we can look at, so that's that. So now let's open up our, let's do the same thing on our sample. See, we do a right click all over here on the stage, and it just says inspect element. And the reason why it doesn't say Flash Player is because the output of our files does not require the Flash Player. It's all HTML. So we do this, right click, inspect element, and you will not see a reference to a Swift object at all. You'll see the HTML canvas tag. So this is all being done right in our browser in the HTML. There's no reference to a Swift. But remember, we do have to still do animation, and that's the arena of the JavaScript. And so you can see there's a reference here to the JavaScript file, and that's why you need to also submit your JavaScript file, because that's where, when we publish the HTML, when we publish this animation, it's going to create this JavaScript file, and this is all JavaScript. And the good news is you don't have to program that from scratch. It's done for you. So not only is the HTML being generated for you automatically by the Adobe Flash program, you always kind of have to be a little careful because, yes, we have Adobe Flash, but it's not creating the SWF. It's actually creating the HTML5 for us. So we kind of have the best of both worlds. We have the tool, the Adobe Flash tool, and we are grateful to Adobe because now they're saying, okay, we're going to still give you the tool, Adobe Flash tool, and we're allowing you to publish to a browser independent and non-Flash runtime dependent file output. So we don't need the Flash. It's all right here. We do need the JavaScript because I don't want you to expect HTML to be able to do everything that used to be done, because we are still dependent upon JavaScript here for interactivity and for animation, for movement and so on. So see, we still need the scripting of the power of JavaScript. And so that's why Adobe Flash got together with the Create.js open source project in order to incorporate their Create.js is actually the way that Adobe was able to provide this for us is they integrated with the open source project Create.js. Now I just want to, this is a little bit techie talk here, but Adobe did not have built into their Adobe Flash program the ability to interpret and to create JavaScript. And so what they did is they got a hold of free Create.js. Pretty sure I typed that right. This is what Adobe Flash incorporated into their Adobe Flash tool. And this enables Adobe Flash to be able to both read in and write out JavaScript. So that's just a little techie talk for you. This is how they're able to replace ActionScript. They got a hold of this code, and they now are using these objects, these 4 objects, in order to become independent of the Adobe Flash SWF and ActionScript. That's how they did it. Okay? This is where they got it. So when you're looking at this HTML file that we have, then it's got us an associated JavaScript file. And therefore, the good news is that we have that JavaScript file thanks to this project, this open source project, and thanks to Adobe for incorporating this into Adobe Flash. Okay? So, now if you want to see, if you want to take your output file, and upload it to a website like David did, we can talk about that later. He's got, I'm not sure whose website is that, David, that it's staged on? I think it's Caroline's possibly, because if you hit the website without your folder, it lists about 30 or 40 different students. Is that Caroline's website? The school server, okay. So, and then Kim asked the question, what's the difference between Flash and Edge? And Kim, I'll really quickly answer that. Adobe Edge is Adobe Flash, Adobe's attempt to create a non-Flash tool, because originally Adobe thought that they were going to have to really kind of let Adobe Flash tool die. And so they began creating Adobe Edge because there was so much negative about Adobe Flash. They put together Edge and the 6 associated projects with it in order to replace Adobe Flash, because there was so much negative press on Adobe Flash. But Adobe Edge has not taken off. And what they've done now is they said, okay, let's just do this, bring in JavaScript into Adobe Flash, and let's just let the people still use the tool and then just output HTML and JavaScript. So they've kind of gone back to Adobe Flash because it's a great tool, and Adobe Edge hasn't taken off yet. So Adobe Edge was really Adobe's attempt to create a set of tools to replace Adobe Flash. And it's actually a suite of tools. Does that answer your question about Adobe Edge, Kim? And what website are you referring to? Oh, the David Jensen's website. Yeah, can you paste that one more time, David? And if you take off the, let's see, here it is right here. Yeah, see, if you take this off right there and you delete that, then watch this, you'll see a list of students, and these are all student work. Now, what's ironic is I don't know that they all realize that their work is available for everybody to see, and here's David's right there. But maybe they understood that when they uploaded their project, and this is from other classes in another campus, I think it's the Provo-Orem campus. David, did everybody understand that it was going to be kind of open to all students to see? Okay. All right, well, feel free to go through this list and you won't offend anybody. You'll see some that are, David's is actually probably the best that you'll see. So, all right, so we looked at the HTML file, and now I wanted to, we did the inspect element. Now, I just want to ask a question here to see if you know the answer. What other tool in the Adobe Creative Cloud opens up and edits HTML files? Does anyone know? What other tool opens up HTML and JavaScript files in the Creative Cloud? That's right. Now, watch this. This will blow your mind. I'm now going to take the output from Adobe Flash and I'm going to open it in my editor here. And look at this. How about that? I'm in Adobe Dreamweaver. I'm editing HTML. And here's my view. This is the rendered view. And I can go into the code view only, or I can do the split view, or I can So, and here you can see a reference to, see that ease.js? See that right there? Does that look familiar? Because the files that are output by Adobe Flash, the HTML files that include JavaScript, they also include a reference to the one or more files that are on the Create.js website. Watch this. Remember, we went to this website, Create.js, and if you look real closely, see that easel.js right there? Easel.js. Now look right here. See that? Easel.js. See that right there? Easel.js. So here's what's happened. Adobe Flash is dependent upon using the Create.js Easel.js script file. And this is all that Adobe Flash is doing. They're doing an include of that. So this HTML uses this particular component from Create.js. And then right here, they also reference the one that's separate for just this particular animation. Now, you can see they're both referenced right here. This is HTML coding right here. And then it's referencing the two JavaScript files. I wonder if I click on this, if it'll open it up. Double click. Yes, it does. See all this? This belongs to the Create.js project, but because it's open source and Adobe Flash is using it for free, and it's all being sucked in by that one statement so that the Adobe Flash animation can be published in HTML and JavaScript. And then here, we'll double click on this one here, and this is the one that is custom to our particular animation. This is all JavaScript. You did not have to write it. It created it itself. You can see the words hello world right there. This is all JavaScript here, and this is rendered hello world. Okay? HTML, yeah. The HTML fill is the one that you open, and it will automatically put here references to the other JavaScript files that are referenced in the HTML, enabling you to double click on them and bring them up separately in this view window. All right, Kim says do that again a little slower. So we do File, Open, and just open this HTML file right there. This is the HTML file. By the way, I'm just doing this so you understand that this can be done. I'm actually doing this so you can kind of put it all together in your mind. I'm not doing this so that you do it for the assignment. This is only so you kind of can get it. It's important to me that you understand what's going on and what is potential and can be done. It's not only important to me that I just tell you what to do for the assessment. I need you to kind of like look at the whole picture here. So just open up the HTML. It will reference this one, and the other one it references automatically because that reference right in the HTML, it references the other component from the website. This literally pulls that file, that JavaScript file, from the Create.js website and grabs that particular component, and the browser actually is reading all this. So, all right. Phil, you and I are the same age, man. Dreamweaver, Gary Wright's song. That's you and I are the same era. I just heard that the other day and looked at my wife and I said, "Do you recognize that?" She said, "I sure do." So, Dreamweaver, okay. Now, Kim, did you follow that? I opened it slowly that time. That's fine. Okay, good. So is everybody good? I think I'm going to draw this to a close. My family is out in the car actually waiting for me. And those of you who have waited to the end, are you interested to know where I am right this moment? I'll tell you. Everybody want to know? Oh no, Drew, I'm not in the bathroom. I didn't even think of doing that. I am actually, that's funny. I'm in the lobby between the exit door and the entrance door of a restaurant which has Wi-Fi. So there you have it. That's where I have been for the past hour and a half. I'm in Iowa right now, in Keokuk, actually. So now you know. This is definitely a first for me. You bet, Casey. Thanks, everybody. I will, next week, Monday night, Wednesday night, for 2 hours, okay? And we'll get into some of the more detailed aspects of buttons and using JavaScript, okay? You bet, Drew. Thank you. I'll upload the files to video. I'll upload the course or the live lecture to video. Oh, and then Dave, 2 things I want to help you. 2 things for you, Dave. Yeah, just east of you. Oh, interesting, Pam. How about that? Oh, okay. I do want to show you the flash, the assignment, the discussion. Oh, can that wait? Can I wait till tomorrow, possibly, or do you want me to? I can email it to you. You're good? Okay, you're good for tonight. Okay, great. Thank you, Maria. Thanks, everybody. So, Dave, I want to Zoom with you. We got to figure this out because I think your FLA file is not going to be able to just export JavaScript, and that's what Caroline had warned us, and I'm afraid that's going to be the case. Yes, it can create that HTML file, but again, that HTML file that it created is actually not one that's JavaScript related. It actually is one that only includes that reference to the Swift file, so that's not helping. Okay? Sounds good, Maria. All right, let's talk, David. Hopefully we can even connect tomorrow if possible. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Good night.